You can join me today as we continue our studies on spiritual warfare. We've been looking at battles and doorways to satanic and demonic contaminations in lives and ways through which people open doorways for the enemy to strike them, knowingly or unknowingly. Some of these doorway activities happen majorly because out of ignorance. A lot of people become contaminated without knowing. Some others become contaminated willfully. But whichever category we fall into, it's important that we know the truth. Jesus says, "You shall know the truth will make you free." It's important that we know the truth. It's important we also share the truth with people. The Bible says that though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. Many things that happen in the physical are orchestrated from the spiritual. They are spirit manipulated, spirit controlled, spirit inspired, spiritually insinuated. I put it that way. So I'm going to continue talking about doorways to demonic activity, doorways to spiritual contamination. You know, we live in an age where everybody is right in his own eyes. Everything is all about letting people be, just praising people the way they are, just accepting people as they are, even if they are headed in the path of destruction. People talk about, shaming and don't shame this person, don't do this, don't do that, body shaming, all those kind of things. As much as we are enjoying to respect dignities, we're also enjoying to speak to ourselves and correct one another in love. When you see somebody doing something wrong and you correct him, it's not shaming. It's out of love. It should be done out of love, actually. But you see, if we continue in the trends in which we are going, it means that nobody will be able to correct anybody anymore. People will just do things, and as long as it feels good with them, it's all right. But it's just not all right, because that's the kind of thing the world system is aiming for, where everything is right. Now, there is even this program that is going on by this very famous woman. We all know her. She has a very big talk show, and she's doing what they call a masterclass, spirit masterclass. And the underlying teaching there is that there are so many ways to God. And they use scriptural words, sounding things that sound spirit, fellowship, and all those. And if you are not careful, you will be caught in that web of lie. The Bible says in the last days that if it were possible, the very elect themselves will be deceived. So there are so many doorways. One of the things it talked about is seeking of familiar spirit. Today I want to talk about objects, things that can contaminate us. I'm just going to show some symbolisms. Some of them you are used to it, some of them you're not familiar with it. But don't worry, the aim is not that it is only restricted to these symbols, but I want to tell you that I want to draw your attention to the fact that you should be conscious of what you buy in the market in the name of fashion. Yes, you heard me right, fashion. We need to be careful what we buy, what we wear, what we, put on our bodies, because whatever you put on yourself is like a garment, could become a doorway, could become a channel. Now, I'm not those people who are getting to the ditch by saying that, oh, this is from the water spirit, oh, this is from the satanic kingdom, oh, this is this. But aside from that, we need to know that the world thrives on symbolism. The world thrives on branding. If this is my brand, you wear it, you're promoting my brand. You are passively accepting me as the brand owner. You are agreeing with my ideals. So that's why we need to be careful about the things we buy in the market, especially clothes or rings or necklaces. I need you to pay attention about those things because they are laced with a lot of symbolism. Some of them occultic symbolism. Somebody may dismiss it with a wave of hand. Well, that's fine, but you need to know that anytime you take what belongs to the enemy, you're giving him a right to come on a visit. And there are numerous references in the Bible about objects that are cursed, both in the New and the Old Testament. You know, objects can be cursed for a variety of reasons, and either because of the object itself or in relation to who has it or who is the promoter of it. Now, objects are cursed, especially if they are idolatrous or they are connected with idolatry, or somehow maybe they are profane or connected with the devil or the devil himself, such as occultic symbols and all, paraphernalia and all those things. And the main reason these objects are cursed is because they have been used in idolatry, which is an abomination to God. God always tells you, saying, you need to stay away from this thing. He took a long time, explained to the children of Israel, you should not, when you go into these nations, destroy them so that they don't lead you into idolatry. God sees you as valuable, and He doesn't want the devil to contaminate your life. You find out that, clearly speaking, let me start with something as simple as a snake. There's no way a snake can be seen to be just innocuous, harmless. Or you buy a ring that has a snake on it and it's harmless. It cannot be harmless. Or you buy a cloth that has a snake on it, or have a kind of viper object on it. It can't just be innocuous. Well, if you feel it is, I'm not here to really argue with us. But I need us to know that the reason why things are cursed is because whenever anything is anti-God, no matter how valuable it may seem, it might even be a rare thing, but as long as it has a symbol of Satan or the devil on it, is a cursed object. Why is it important for us to avoid cursed objects? Because cursed objects, hear this, provide what are effective demonic doorways, or what people may call portals. They provide demonic doorways or portals. They give demons access and a licensed ground to operate in all the ways, subtly or overtly. People have found it difficult to sleep at night because they bought a certain ring. They just found that ring nice. They went to the market, just bought it without looking at the symbolism on the ring. And you look at those rings, you see some very funny symbols. People wear rings that have symbols, they don't understand what it is. So it is very important. Now, even if somebody did not know the symbols or the objects were cursed, and they bring it into their houses, he's just as demonic. Now, there's a pastor friend of mine in the UK, and somebody gave him a very rare gift, unique gift. It was a chair, craftly chair, a well-crafted chair. And you look at the chair, it looks like, how do we say these things? This vintage chair that has those Victorian kind of way. It was well-crafted. But you know what? The moment this pastor brought this chair into his house, oh my goodness, the atmosphere in his house changed. They just noticed they were not sleeping well at night. They began to have strange dreams. Things began to happen. Just the atmosphere just changed. And he began to ask his wife, what is it that changed? We are still keeping to our routines, but the atmosphere in our home has changed. And he began to pray and ask God. And God showed him that chair. And he said, what? Such precious chair? That chair. He, dilly-dallied a little bit, but finally he decided, you know what, I'm going to get rid of this chair. He took the chair back to the person and said, thanks, but no thanks. He said the moment that chair left their home, there was peace in the house. Somebody can say, why couldn't he have bound the devil and all? If it's an object that is being dedicated to Satan, there's no need. There are many chairs to buy. There are many rings you can buy. There are many other necklaces you can buy. There are many, beads you can buy. I traveled once also to the UK, one of my trips to the UK, and I stayed in a place of a relative of mine, and I noticed that the night I got in there, I stayed there for some days with my wife, and then went to visit another friend. We noticed that we could sleep very well in this friend's house, but we couldn't sleep very well in this other person's house. When we came back, we began to see the reason why. The atmosphere was not the same. This other fellow used to burn incense and was having a lot of depressive tendencies, and so trying to find all kinds of ways to get themselves out of it, and dabbled into Eastern religion and all kinds of meditations. Cursed objects provide what is effectively doorways to the enemy, subtly or clearly. Whether you are aware of it or not, you need to be conscious of the fact that anytime you are holding what belongs to Satan, Satan has a right to come and stick around what is his. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8 says something. The devil is an expert in deceiving people. He just comes in subtly. He tries to tell you where this doesn't matter. He came to Adam and Eve in the garden and said, had God said, no, it's not going to happen that way. And that's the argument we have in the world today. People tell you, well, these things don't matter. You're taking this thing too far. Now, I've not said you should not be fashionable. I've not said you should not buy rings. I've not said you should not buy necklaces. I've not said you should not be fashionable. I've not said you should not wear clothes. I am saying be sober. Be vigilant, be clear-minded, be watchful, for your adversary, the devil, goes about like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. The word there is be sober, be vigilant, be wise, be smart. It's not everything that you see that you must buy. It's not everything that you see that you would wear. You have to be vigilant. Demonic doorways or portals or gateways provide a licensed ground or legal right for demons to come and harass people, demons to come and torment people, demons to come and destroy people. There are people's lives who have been destroyed. There are people who have become mental. There are people who have become depressed because of objects they took and brought into their homes, or things they bought for their kids, or things people gave them. On an advanced level, sometimes when people want to penetrate other people's lives, they give them gifts. They give them shoes. They give them wristwatches. And if you are not sensitive in the spirit, there are gifts you have and you take. There are gifts the Lord will tell you not to take it. And you don't have to take it. Or if you must take it from the person, you take it, but you don't use it. We need to be sober. We need to be very, 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 very clear-minded. Be watchful, be vigilant. Because when we begin to, contaminate ourselves and environment with objects that are not of the enemy, it's a problem. It's a problem. These things that also people receive as inheritances, either from fathers or from grandfathers, mothers or from grandmothers, things that have been passed from generation to generation. It's important that we are sensitive in our spirit. When you receive something, listen to your spirit man. If it doesn't sit well with your spirit man, you don't need to have it. You don't need to have it. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17 says, wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, say the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. The unclean thing. Touch not the unclean thing, and I'll receive you. Think about that. Touch not the unclean thing. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, say the Lord. Touch not the unclean thing, and I'll receive you. So we need to be very careful about the things that we touch. We need to be very careful about the things we bring into our setting. We need to be careful about the things that we take, about the things that we buy, about the things that we wear, about the things that we allow ourselves to be associated with. All these things are very, very sensitive. I want to tell you something. Whenever you're buying anything, please look at the symbolism of it. If you buy a ring, please look at the symbol. Is there a symbol on that ring? Apart from the marriage ring, engagement rings, there are fashion rings. There are rings that have no significance. But hey, there are rings that have significance. Look at it. If you're buying a cloth, read what's written on the cloth. For goodness sake, read what it is. Because when you buy stuffs and you wear stuffs on your body, as you walk along the road, people are going to read what you're wearing. It's more like you're making a statement about yourself. There's so many funny things that we see people wear, and you ask the person, what does this mean? I didn't really think about it. I didn't really think about it. You didn't think about it. Why would you not think about it? So we need to be very sensitive about these things. Very, very sensitive about these things. God does not want you to bring anything that is unclean, anything that is cursed. Don't bring it close to you. Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 20 says, neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thy house, lest thou be a cursed thing like it. But thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thy house, lest thou be a cursed thing like it. So there are things that are cursed, and there are things that carry curses. We will know the truth will set us free. So let's be sensitive in the things of the Lord. God says, be separate. God says, be vigilant. God says, be sensitive. Be sensitive to the things you touch. Be sensitive to the gifts you take. Be sensitive to the things you wear. Dress honorably. Dress respectably. And let the Spirit of the Lord help us so that we don't open doorways to the enemy. God will keep you safe. God will keep you sound. And God will keep you sanctified. But let's also on our own self do our part to keep ourselves clean. God bless you. So we need to be very, very sensitive about these things, because God doesn't want us to become contaminated.